Behold, the latest design of our armored forces. The Panzer III. With this kind of armor, nobody can stop us. Feel free to board this tank and take it for a test drive.
Welcome back. This video will cover vehicles. I'm going to do basics of moving around and then the basics of repairing and refueling vehicles. So as the guy said, I'm just going to jump in here now. So just as a quick overview, if you hover over the tank, it'll show you what class of tank it is, exactly what tank it is, its main gun, its machine gun, which in this case is the Commander Vision, which I'll show now. It shows you the hull armor and the turret armor, which is usually from the weakest point to the strongest point, and which is the strongest armor you can usually take as being the frontal armor of the thing, and the lowest being the rear armor. And then it says crew 5 and then 9. What that means is it takes 5 crewmen to fully crew this tank, to have it at 100% efficiency, and however it can accommodate 4 tank riders. So if I go into third person mode, you will see that I have an overview of the tank. On the right hand side, it will show 80% efficiency. That's because it needs 5 crew members to be 100% efficient. And then I have my main armament. I can press spacebar to swap out the rounds, and then I have the different machine guns. This is the dual MG on the turret, and then this is the whole machine gun. Right, so you can move vehicles around by using the WASD button like you would a normal FPS, or obviously in the RTS mode. And if you want a vehicle to point a certain direction, you can tell it to come here and point over here.
In front of you is an obstacle course. Move to the highlighted points and destroy targets as quickly as possible. For effective control of the tank, switch to the direct control mode using the E key. In direct control mode, switch quickly to specific weapons using the keys 1 to 4, or right mouse click to cycle to all the weapons.
So this tank has a manual turret, I believe. That's why the turret turns so slowly, but you'll see some vehicles have automatic turrets which turn, or hydraulic or electric turrets which turn much faster. So angling your tank if you have a slow turret speed is also quite important, as it can get you to on target much quicker. And with this game having quite a realistic ballistics simulation, if you will, it really plays out in what is true in real world terms, where usually the tank that gets the first shot gets the killing blow. It's not always the case, but getting off the first shot is very important. So angling your tank at the right position is quite important. Anyways. So as I mentioned in the previous video, if you want to see how far a target is and if they are in range of your unit, you need to go into classic direct mode, and then you can see the range on the target. So one thing that I think is not mentioned, or I haven't really seen mentioned elsewhere, is if you aim with this tank, say over there, you will see that it is out of range. So if you go into third person, it will show you that it is in range, or it doesn't show that it's not in range. However, what happens is if you shoot to a target that is out of your range, it just basically shoots off in a random direction instead of hitting the target where it should be. So a lot of people have been like, but I can see the target, and when I shoot at him, the round just goes into a random direction. That's because it's actually out of range. However, you can't see that in the first person mode, but you can check it by going into classic control. Right, then as I mentioned as well, with the UI, you'll see that the number in the square is your penetration. So I cannot penetrate this 50 mil. However, if I switch to the APCR by pressing spacebar, I will be able to penetrate up to 87 millimeters at this range, which puts it right through there. Just another thing I want to mention as well, you'll see that if your vehicles move on roads, they will move much quicker, where if they move, you saw with the water, it moves much slower. And you'll see that when you're in third person mode, it shows you on the left hand side on what surface you are driving. So as I mentioned here, you'll see in shallow water it drives much slower than it does on the road. And it's the same here. So as you can see, you can position your vehicle by right-clicking and holding it in. As soon as he gets to the location, he will position the vehicle in the correct manner. So one thing that is missing with this game is a reverse button, unfortunately. So what you can do is, if you want to reverse the tank, you can right-click close to it and it will reverse, and you can shift a couple of orders. Unfortunately, it's not as efficient as just having a reverse button that you can just press and it goes, but it is unfortunately currently the only way that you can actually get around that.
Gute Arbeit. I see. This tank will become your favorite in battle.
Verdammt! Hey you! Can you lend me a hand here? I've injured my hand, but I still have to get this tank up and running for this evening's exercises. If you can, get some repair tools and fix it.
Different components of vehicles can be damaged on the battlefield. The tracks, engine, gun, turret, body, etc. You will need repair kits to repair these components. You can find them in most vehicles' inventories. Repair kits are a single-use item. If multiple components are broken, you will need a repair kit for each component. Take a repair kit from the vehicle into your soldier's inventory. Then when the soldier is selected, press the repair button in the bottom right corner of the interface, the wrench icon. Lastly, click on the vehicle to order your soldier to repair it.
So what I would like to add about repairing vehicles is that you will see, as we mentioned, you need repair kits to repair vehicles. However, you can, depending on how many components are broken, you can have up to 4 guys repairing different components, as long as each of them are repairing a different component. And very important are 2 things that sometimes you don't understand why it's happening. Sometimes your guy does not repair the tank because he does not actually have enough space in his inventory to put a repair kit. And then secondly is, when you do repair, you need to ensure that there's actually space around the vehicle, especially at the component that needs to be fixed. If your tank is parked against this wall and the left-hand track gets taken out, then you're not going to be able to fix that track unless you get rid of this wall somehow. So those are 2 things that just to take note of, is that A, there has to be space in the guy's inventory to repair it, and B, there has to be space around the vehicle where the components need fixing. Then you'll also see that tankmen and engineers fix vehicles faster than others. So anybody can fix vehicles. However, tankmen and engineers are much faster at it than normal infantrymen. Then, with toolboxes as well, you'll see each vehicle has 5 toolboxes as standard. And as you mentioned, you need 1 toolbox per component that is broken, so you can run through them quite quickly if you have a lot of damaged components. One last thing with the toolboxes is that they can be resupplied, however not via the normal resupply. You have to have an engineering vehicle. Engineering vehicles resupply toolboxes to vehicles. And then you also see, if your guys are inside a tank, you can select it and press the default is Shift R, and one person will jump out to repair a component. So if you have, let's say, 2 components broken, you can just press Shift R, and 2 guys will jump out of the vehicle, fix it, and then get back into the vehicle. Where now, because I'm not in the vehicle, he's just going to fix it and then not jump into it.
Different components of vehicles can be damaged on the battlefield. The tracks, engine, gun, turret, body, etc. You will need repair kits to repair these components. You can find them in most vehicles' inventories. Repair kits are a single-use item. If multiple components are broken, you will need a repair kit for each component. Take a repair kit from the vehicle into your soldier's inventory. Then when the soldier is selected, press the repair button in the bottom right corner of the interface, the wrench icon. Lastly, click on the vehicle to order your soldier to repair it.
Melde! Fahrzeug ist wieder kampfbereit.
Vielen Dank, Soldat. I see you have some useful skills.
That is a fuel station. Our vehicles need fuel to keep on running. You should familiarize yourself with the refueling process.
There are 2 ways that you can refuel a vehicle. Automatically, by driving a refueling supply truck close to it, or manually with fuel cans. To use fuel cans, collect them into your soldier's inventory, and while holding them, clicking on a fuel source like fuel trucks and big barrels will fill the empty can with fuel. When the can is full, you can pour out the fuel contents into the empty vehicle.
one thing I forgot to mention about the toolboxes is that if you are in a vehicle and it no longer has any toolboxes and you want to repair it, usually if there's a vehicle in close vicinity with a toolbox, the person that you order to fix it will automatically walk up to the other vehicle and go fetch that toolbox. Cool. With refueling, I'm just gonna get this guy in here just so you can see.
Was sollen wir tun?
So you will see that in the battlefield your vehicles run through fuel. This is the fuel that they have, and each vehicle uses fuel at a different rate. You also see that there are two types of fuels in the game. There's petrol and diesel, and that's why each vehicle comes with an empty jerry can, so that if you do need to refill it, you can use that jerry can just to get the last little bit of liquid out of that vehicle to know if it's a petrol or diesel vehicle. Most Wehrmacht vehicles are petrol, most USSR vehicles are diesel. I'm not 100% sure about the USA. And then, so you have to throw in the right kind of fuel into the right vehicle if you are doing it from a jerry can. However, a fuel truck will automatically refuel the vehicle with whatever type of fuel that it requires. So I'm going to use the jerry can here just to show how it works. So you can press C and then right click on it. Now it has it in his hand. I can put in some fuel over there. And then, so you'll see that the guy walks pretty slow with it in his hand. However, if you unequip it like that, it's still in his inventory and he can run at a normal speed. Otherwise, it's very slow. And you can take out the jerry can over here again and put it in. Time to go over there afterwards. You'll see that your circle does not show when you're in third person mode, but when you're in classic mode, you are able to see where your refueling circle sits.